I'm going to make a sliding knot bracelet today. It has 2 sliding knots that come together. This particular design has beads and knots alternating. I'm not sure if you can see properly, but my beads have little letters stamped in them. So I'm going to make the word unstoppable, which is an 11-letter word, so I've got 11 beads there. You can use gemstone beads or whatever you have on hand. They just would need to have a bigger hole than your twine that you're using. We're using the 1mm satin nylon cord. It's a nice slippery, easy cord to work with, so it's good for doing our little knots. I'm just going to measure out about 36 inches for this particular bracelet because I'm using a lot of beads, so I'm doing a lot of knots. I need quite a bit of twine there. You wouldn't need quite as much twine if you were just doing a couple of beads with a couple of knots like that first bracelet that I've made. And I just cinched the end with a lighter as well. To start with, you're going to have your sliding knot on each end, so we need to leave enough space there. So I leave about 7 inches before I start my design. Then we can pop our first knot on. Now I start by holding the thread against my left index finger about at that 7-inch mark. Then with our right hand, starting at the end of your finger and wrapping it around 3 times towards the left. And then gently removing the 3 loops off your finger. And then with this cord in your right hand, we're just going to poke that down the 3 loops. Then just gently working with your knot to pull it tight, and then you should have a nice little tidy knot there. Sometimes you have to work with it a little bit to maneuver it into place, but just make sure it's nice and tight. Then you can pop a bead on. So obviously I'm making a word, so I need to check the order of each letter. So this is the letter U for the start of the word unstoppable. So we pop our bead on, and then again we just need to make another knot. So just holding it down your left index finger and with your right hand bringing your cord around 3 times. Then just gently remove it off your finger and poking it down the loops. So again, just working with your knot there, you want your knot to be up against the bead. So you need to sort of hold it as close as you can to the bead while you're wrapping it, and then while you remove your loops as well, just so you don't have to work your knot along the cord very far. You're just kind of tightening it up. Just checking our next bead. This is the letter N, and popping that on as well. And again, holding our index finger along the cord and then wrapping it 3 times. Poking our cord down the loops and then working with our knot there, working it nice and tight. So we just continue on alternating the knots and the beads depending on how many beads and knots you want on there. So I'm just going to continue on and finish my whole word. Now you want to make sure that you've put a knot on the end of your design as well to hold it nice and tight, and then you're going to want to check that your ends are nice and even so that your design is sitting perfectly in the middle. So I just hold that around and cut the ends so that they're even. Then we just lay our bracelet down on the table in a sort of a U shape. We're going to make a knot on each side, so I just start by bringing the right hand side one down and around itself, tying a little knot there, and then the same on the left, down and around. So you'll have two little knots there, and you want to sort of make sure that they're even on each side, about the same distance away from your design. Then we can pick it up and we're going to poke each tail down each opposite knot. So we just poke this tail down this knot, and then this tail down this knot. Pull the knots nice and tight, and then you should have two little sliding knots there that slide towards each other. You can always adjust these as well, undo them, tie them again if they're not quite big enough. You want your bracelet to adjust open big enough that it fits over your hand. Then you can just tie a little knot on the end of each thread as well, just to make sure that it can't slip inside the knot and come undone. I just tie a little knot there and then singe the ends as well. You should have a fully functional bracelet, and you can open it, put it over your wrist, and then tighten it back up again. So there's your sliding knot bracelet with beads and knots alternating.